Hold on. What up, people? I am back for another video. We are continuing on with the Starship Troopers franchise. Apparently, I thought there was only 3 movies. I did not remember. Apparently, there's fucking 5. So I guess we're gonna be doing this for a few weeks. But this one, this was not a good start for the Starship Troopers sequels. This was like took basically everything about what made the first one great and just shit on it. Reading Wikipedia's description, they said like people didn't like the whole shift to horror. I actually didn't mind that. That's actually not the part that really bothers me. I actually like a more of a horror fan. I mean, in the book is a bit more horror tone. It's not as like fucking. I'm not gonna say jokey, but yeah, I guess I'll use that. Yeah, it's not as like kind of a mix of comedy and sci-fi. Like it is definitely a bit more on the horror side. So I don't necessarily mind that. My big issue with this one is straight up the characters are not good. They're forgettable. That's why a lot of people who I've talked to about Starship Troopers 2 either say this is bad or they don't remember even watching it because it's nothing. Um they clearly, because this was straight to DVD, so you notice they didn't really show a lot of bugs. There was bugs in the beginning, and then kind of like you get some scenes in the middle, but that's why you had that stupid bug that could like take over the human body because it was to save budget. It clearly was to save a budget because they can't show the regular size bugs, so we have to show these little ones that are basically the body snatchers. Which it's just I don't mind that plot, but the problem is with that plot with plots like that, you gotta care about the characters. That's why the Thing, granted, I don't necessarily think it was trying to be the Thing, but like it's an equivalent of that in a way. Um, and I like the idea of soldiers being stranded, and as much as I like the opening of the first one, them at the training at the base, learning about the bugs and stuff. I actually kind of like that we're kind of past that and we're just straight up on a mission. So that aspect was cool. This is like, okay, we're already in the action. The problem is these characters you don't care about. Sahara, who's the main character, basically, I guess is psychic. But the way they do it, it's so out of fucking nowhere. You're like, oh wait, why are you just saying random bullshit? It just seems so. Dax is the big hero of the movie, played by Richard Burgi. Good actor, he's in 24. He's in a lot of TV. He's not necessarily a bad actor, but he couldn't carry this movie. None of the characters just you care about. They're all just kind of there for the body count, and that's not what made the first Starship Troopers. The first Starship Troopers, big thing that made that movie is the fucking cast. Dizzy, Ace, Brico, Carmen, all great characters. So if they had this plot with those characters, the movie would have been great. But the problem is you had no characters that were likable. Like you just didn't really care who died. There were some nice gore moments, I guess, especially when the bugs, I guess, that infected your body starts like decomposing your body basically and making it like just basically it falls apart easily, which that was cool. But once again, you don't care about these characters, so you're just. I guess the other positive is it's not long. It's only like an hour and a half, but it is, and it's also kind of boring. Like there's just parts they try to have them connect and try to have that quote unquote same camaraderie, and it's just not fucking there, man. It's like you clearly can tell they have no chemistry. I think my other fucking problem with this movie, it does not feel like Starship Troopers. Besides that opening where you get the like kind of like the the military ad like you did in the original, and then kind of towards the end, it doesn't. And besides some of their armor, when they're just in the fucking outpost that's later in the movie, it feels like just some shitty B movie military movie about hunting aliens. If you took the bugs out of this movie and even just kept that new bug, this could be some movie about an outbreak within in some outpost. That's all this could be. You wouldn't even think this is Starship Troopers. It doesn't play like Starship Troopers. Besides some scenes where they play the music, and there's, I guess, some okay action sequences. Like my thumbnail is gonna be Dax with the 2 fucking guns. That looked cool, but it's like the whole movie is just not. I wasn't into it. I was like, because I was like, I even counted. I was like 40 minutes in. I'm just not into it. When 40 minutes in fucking Starship Troopers 1, even before that, but definitely by 40 fucking minutes in, I was fucking invested. This, I just did not give a shit. This, if I think the other problem is if this wasn't Starship Troopers, maybe this movie wouldn't be horrible. This could be some okay. If you took the bugs out and you changed the ending and you have it just end at the outpost, to have it just be some shitty survival movie about soldiers surviving at this outpost, then it can maybe work. But when you try to make it a Starship Troopers movie, it is fucking shit because it doesn't have it. Almost like the only thing they like kind of got is okay. Here we got the look of the space marine armor, like the marine armor, and then like the look of the bugs. But even then, the CGI for the bugs is fucking horrible. Like there's a shot where it straight up looks like a fucking video game, like where you see like the bugs just kind of like all in a shot, and there's no humans. So if you look at it, it looks like literally if you saw that shot at the time, you wouldn't even. I wouldn't be surprised if you would think, oh, is this like a Starship Troopers 2000s game? Because that's what it looked like. It fucking looked like that. It did not look like a movie. I was like, holy shit. How did it look better in 1997? And this is 2004, almost 10 years later. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, almost 10 years later, close to about, I think that's 8 years later. So about 8 years later. And it just looks worse. um, the Outpost wasn't a bad. I like the idea of the Stranded. I like that. I like stories like that, but it just was not Starship Troopers. This could easily be, like I said, some shitty B movie about them just killing random aliens. It just doesn't. There's nothing Starship Troopers about it. None of the characters even feel like it. Like all the characters just feel like generic. Like you got too generic. Like you're, and I'm not saying this as a how we say it now, a strong women. I mean just generic strong female, generic strong male characters, generic head captain. That's kind of what it felt like to me. They were just all stock. It was just like checking a box. They didn't feel like characters. They're just there. Like just none of the and there's just none of the drama when they were arguing and shit you were into. I guess one of the girls sees because there's a new girl. He ends up. I guess because when they get to the outpost, there's already people there. They don't know you don't know they're infected. And I guess one of the soldiers hooks up with her, and I guess one of them, is dating another girl on the team. So they have to do like you just don't give a shit. It's just like, oh, okay. I guess there's cheating. All right. So, but yeah, so that's basically the movie. They have to survive. Dax ends up dying in the end. You don't care. Like Richard Burgie's a good actor, and you like his character could have been better, but he had no one to work with because none of his other team you care for. You don't care about this Sahara chick. She's just generic main lead. It just, yeah, this movie's pretty shit. I guess out of 10, maybe 4.5. Like there were some okay action sequences, but the bugs look terrible. They clearly didn't want to show the big bugs at all, so that's why they did I'm not against showing a new different form of bug, but so I'm like, are they attached to the other bugs? And if they are, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of the bugs I like the bugs just being bugs that they kill. Them being that self-aware that we could make a form that can take control of humans. Like what? That's out there. I don't even really like that idea. Not for this story. If this was like if this was a different franchise, then that maybe could work, but it's not fucking it doesn't work here. And yeah, the music's there in some scenes, but yeah, you could Paul Verhoeven not being there fucking definitely hurts this movie because they lost what made the first one great. And I'm not even against them going into the more horror aspect, especially because it was more like the book. But it did not work here because this movie sucked. I just think everything about it. If you got better characters, maybe the same plot, you could maybe make it work. If you just had better actors, I would still keep Richard Burgie, but maybe replace literally everybody else and put more emphasis on the bugs. I would have probably not done the whole bug mind control thing. I would have just had it. They had to survive and the bugs just slowly get in. I think you should have just kept it simple like that. Like the bugs slowly get in. That's how you do. You don't need it. If you're gonna introduce a new form of bug, do something else. A bug that can like basically mind control a human is stupid. That's I just think that's too out there for this world. So, but yeah, this one's not good. So that's really all I can say about it. Oh, what have I fucking got myself into? Because I think this is gonna be another case where there's only one good movie. I mean, maybe three can be decent. If it can just be fucking decent, that's all I need. If it can just be fucking decent, that'll be fine. But yeah, tomorrow I'll be talking about the problem with rapping trailers. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while because this has been a thing that just feels like these studios are just trying to be hip with the kids. Oh, kids like hip hop and rap now, so let's just put them in every trailer when they don't belong. Certain franchises, like they did with like Mortal Kombat, they're doing it like every video game trailer now, movie trailer. They did it in Transformers. It's the problem that needs to be addressed. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. But yeah, and also I'm gonna be watching Extraction 2 tomorrow. So if it's really fucking good, from what I'm hearing, then maybe I'll review it this weekend. So, but other than that, I am gonna get started on Starship Troopers 2, Heroes of the Federation. The title doesn't even really make any sense either. I guess besides towards the end, where they call Dax the hero of the Federation, for basically sacrificing himself. But everything else just does not work. The title really doesn't make any sense. So the movie opens up in a battle, which I do like that. Dax and his men are basically stranded in a big battle with a bunch of bugs, and the bugs just look horrible. Like, they just did not, like, I'm gonna emphasize, like, the CGI is bad. Like even straight to DVD standards, there's some straight to DVD movies that the CGI looks better than this. So they end up getting stranded. They end up finding this outpost and taking refuge there. Well, they kill a couple bugs before that. Like the opening action scene wasn't horrible. Like if I had to say one positive, some of the action sequences are pretty good. That's not really the problem. It's more the biggest problem for me is the characters, because I'm gonna reiterate, the characters in the original is what made that movie. Yeah, the story is good, but the characters are all what made that movie. That's one of the reasons, like, we all talk about that movie is, Rico, fucking Ace, fucking Dizzy, fucking Carmen, just all great characters, and you just don't have that in this. Like, you don't even have one good character. Like, Dax is okay. Like, he's a good actor. That's partially why I'm thinking he's okay, because I'm like, oh, I kind of like that actor. And I think if he had better characters to work with, because Sahara, I guess, is having visions of shit going wrong. The team sees her as crazy. That's basically kind of her arc, this whole movie. So, yeah, so they end up taking refuge in this outpost where they meet another team who their colonel, I think Shepard is his name, is, I guess, killed by this. I'm gonna be fucking honest, I was not really paying attention to the names. That is how bad this movie is. Besides Dax and Sahara, like the only two I caught. So I guess one of the soldiers hooks up with the new girl. And when he does, we get the reveal that she's possessed, or, taken over by a new bug. I don't even think they name it. It's basically, it can take over your body and control you, and it eventually starts to like deteriorate your body, till it like starts falling apart. Which that shit looked grody. Like that looked cool. So it's a fucked up thing is I think you could have made this work. It's just the characters you didn't give a shit about. You're just like, oh, okay. This person died, then this person died. So eventually the team starts willing. It's not that I'm trying to rush through it. It's just there's not a lot on this bone to really talk about. Like, just none of these characters are into Dax. I guess they try to get into his backstory, like he's doing his first family and shit like that, but it's like you don't give a shit. Eventually they start realizing what's going on. Um, so they end up having to try to survive, and then there's a shot like I mentioned, where you see the bugs and and there's no humans around. It looks like a fucking video game shot. Like this could have been like a shot from the Starship Troopers. I know there's a Starship Troopers game now, but this for like the time this came out in 2000. If this was like this around when if this came, you would have saw that shot around when the movie came out. This movie came out, you would have thought this was like a video game or something because it looked like a video game. It did not look fucking good at all. It was like wow, dude, the bugs in the first film look great. Like to this day, it still looks good. And the bugs in this just like clearly just didn't even try to make it look real. Like it's like they just were like, okay, we're just gonna leave them looking like all like computer generated. We're not even gonna try to make them look real. Like clearly there was CGI in the first movie, but they still try to make them look real somewhat. And it's probably because it was partial animatronics. They definitely did not have animatronics, so maybe that's why. But even then, I feel like there's some techniques, at least, especially even back in 2004, that you could have did that definitely could have maybe made it look better. Because Jesus, every time you saw the bugs, and even like the little bugs, did not look good. Especially when there's a scene where one of them, because the guy, who I guess he's like the leader of the fucking other team, drops the bug towards two members of the team, and when they shoot it, the bugs basically spread apart, and it just looks terrible. It was like, oh my god, they did not even try, and they clearly didn't want to show the big bugs, so they didn't have enough budget for that. So they're just gonna do these little ones, which I'm not inherently against, but it was kind of jarring a little bit because if you're gonna introduce a new bug, you got to go into it's like at least have a scene where even like a doctor, one of the scientists at the Federation explain what this new bug is. They didn't do that. They did none of that. You just kind of, oh, this bug. I guess you can deduce, but they don't really give it a name. You don't. Besides knowing it can take over your body, that's it. Like it doesn't. There's no info. Like it just felt like that's one of the things I mentioned about the first one is how lived in it felt. This did not feel lived in at all because they don't even give you a fucking background, really anything. Um, So basically, like I said, slowly people are dying. Then it's down to basically Dax, Sahara, and a couple other people. And then, yeah, so basically, then this is where we kind of get a little bit more of a somewhat Starship Trooper-y movie where they're like actually fighting the actual bugs now. And because eventually one of the bugs kills the possessed human, which is just they should have just had it be where the bugs slowly come in. That actually, I actually like the idea of them being kind of stranded in this outpost and they have to bunk out there, and then eventually the bugs slowly get in. That would have made for some interesting. If you wanted to do horror, that's how you fucking do it. It's sad because Starship Troopers, there is a world you could build off of this, and you just shit the bed of the second movie. Maybe the third one could be decent. We'll see, but this is not a good start, man. It's like this is how you do your second movie. It's like I don't know why the studio just it was a case of the studio not giving a shit and we're not even gonna put a budget into it at all or anything like that because there was no budget there. They didn't even get like any of the older actors back, which I'm not inherently. If I would have been fine with focusing on a different team because it's the Federation and you're working with the Marines. There's different Marines. Would it be cool if they were just like, okay, we're gonna bring Rico back and try to have him be the lead? But I would have been fine if with new characters. It's just the characters they got were just bad. Like none of them you give a shit about. I guess one of them has a relationship and he cheated on with the girl he saw earlier who turned out to be who turned out to be possessed. So, but it's like you just don't care about any of this shit. And I guess you almost could tell they were setting up a thing with Sahara and Dax as a couple. I guess and it's like you just like I said, you don't care. Just this is just shit happening. It does you're not invested, and I think that's what really sucks about this movie. It's just like how it's like the opposite, polar opposite of the fucking original. Like, because the original is so you're immersed. It doesn't just feel like you're watching a movie. It feels like you're part of the movie. This is none of that. You don't even feel like you're even watching a movie. It's just shit happening on screen for an hour and a half, and you're just not into it. None of the even the action. It's okay, but it's just not enough to carry the movie. And there's just scenes where it's few and far between for like 50 minutes with just nothing. There were some good gore moments, like especially when the people's bodies start falling apart. Like that looks kind of fucked, but it's not nothing. If it would be better if you had that effect and it's with characters you actually give a shit about. If you actually like, I'm not like I would have been fine with new characters, but give us characters that would be decent. Maybe give characters for Dax to work with because none of the characters you care about. I don't care about this Sahara chick or this other chick or these other dudes. It's just they're all nameless to me. They're all just nameless military people for this movie. That's what this felt like to me. Like I said, you take out the bugs and all that shit, and you tweak the ending a little bit. This could be some other horror movie about soldiers killing like aliens. This could easily be something else. This doesn't feel like a Starship Trooper. Besides like the armor and a couple times they play the music, it just isn't Starship Troopers. And I think that's probably what I'm gonna title it. Fundamentally not Starship Troopers. Because that's really what this is. This could be some literally some other fucking this could be some other bullshit B movie. And I like B movies, but that's not what Starship Troopers is. Even though like you could say it kind of feels like one, but it actually look at it as a legit movie. I just don't feel like this had any of that. Not like the biggest problem is the characters, and I know I'm saying that a lot, but that's really what kills this movie. Like when you don't, if these deaths were all elaborate and nice, which visually I guess they did. It's kind of crazy. These people's bodies are falling apart. But if you actually are invested in the characters, those scenes would hit harder. Not just it looks cool. Not yet. Like it's just surface level. Yeah, it's cool violence, but when it's with characters you don't give a shit about, that's all it kind of just is. Surface level cool violence. Nothing really special. You kind of like, okay, that looks cool. Move on. And I think that's really what this movie is. So Dax basically kills the rest of the people. He tells Sahara to go, and he kind of decides that he's going to go out and swing in. Which this is a scene that you should care about. In a better movie, you would have cared about this scene. You would have been, okay, let's go, Dax. Go out like a G. In a perfect movie, Dax would have been like General, Raxus from the last movie. Like, he would have been Michael Ironside. Yeah, if he in a better movie, he could have been that character. Not exactly, but in as good. But no, so you don't even really care about his death, and the explosion looked like dog shit. So it's like it doesn't help. There's a lot of bad CGI. I've been watching a lot of movies with bad CGI lately. Um, they they get back to the Federation. They play like a honor ad for him, which that was kind of cool. And then um we get like I guess it's supposed to be like a setup for a third movie where one of the soldiers says a line really weird where it's supposed to be hinted that I'm assuming it's supposed to be like one of them is possessed by those bugs. And I guess that's supposed to be that kind of ending. So we'll see. I don't even know if the third one will even fucking pick up from that. They'll just do something else. But overall, this just was not good. It didn't have the spirit of Starship Troopers at all. When you don't have what made that first one great, and it's not just the bugs and all that, it's the fucking characters. You don't have any compelling characters. So none of their deaths matter. They're just body counts. Which like I mentioned, visual level they look cool dying, but you don't give a fuck about them. So why should I care? It's not worth watching. I'd almost say Granted, I haven't seen the others yet, so maybe I can magically be changed. But as of now, I'd honestly say just watch the first one. Just watch the first one, and maybe an imagine